My parents told me I wasn't invited to Christmas this year. You make everyone uncomfortable. A week later, my dad sent me a request. $1,900, your share of the holiday groceries. I sent back $1.90 with the note. Didn't eat. Don't pay. Then I canceled the Costco card, froze the family Amazon, and flagged the shared Amex for review. 2 days later, my mom called me crying. How could you? I found out I wasn't invited to Christmas this year through a 3-line email. We've decided it would be best if you didn't come. Everyone feels uncomfortable because of you. We hope you understand. No call. No conversation. Just an email, like I was being let go from some part-time job. I read it on a Tuesday morning, sitting in my apartment with my coffee half gone and my work laptop still waking up. I stared at those words like maybe they'd rearrange themselves into something less humiliating. The worst part was how calm it sounded. Like it wasn't a big deal. Just a little scheduling update. By the way, we've erased you from the holiday this year. Don't take it personally. Except it was personal. Of course it was. I'd noticed the shift over the last couple years. Subtle things. My mom stopped asking if I was coming early to help cook. My dad stopped calling unless he needed something, usually money. My brother and his wife started treating me like I was radioactive. But I still showed up. I still brought gifts, cooked, cleaned, laughed at unfunny stories, smiled through the tension. I kept waiting for someone to say it out loud. Now they had. I didn't reply to the email. I waited. 1 day, 2 days, a week. No one reached out. Then I got a Venmo request. $1,900. From my dad. The note said, your share of the holiday food. I actually laughed. Out loud, alone in my apartment. They had disinvited me from the holiday, told me I made people uncomfortable, and then expected me to pay nearly $2,000 for the privilege of not being there. Like I was just a line item in their budget. I sent back exactly $1.90. Added a note. Didn't eat. Don't pay. And then I started cutting them off. I canceled the Costco card. It was under my name, paid from my account. My mom had used it like it was hers. I imagined her standing in line with her cart full of king crab legs and paper towels, only to be told the card wasn't valid. I didn't warn her. Next, Amazon. They'd been using my Prime for free shipping, groceries, and my streaming account. My dad used my login to watch those political documentaries he was obsessed with. Gone. I changed the password, removed all the devices, locked it down. And then the Amex card. Joint account. My parents added me when I had better credit so they could qualify for a higher limit. I flagged it for suspicious activity and requested a full review. That froze the card instantly. 2 days later, my phone rang. My mom's number. I didn't pick up at first. Then it rang again. And again. Finally, I answered. She was crying. Not apologizing, though. Just crying, like I'd stabbed her. How could I do this? How could I be so petty? They were my parents. I didn't say much. I just let her talk. She wanted me quiet and obedient. She wanted me generous and invisible. She wanted me to feel guilty. But I didn't. That was the thing that scared her most. 3 days after my mom's meltdown call, my brother finally reached out. No greeting. No context. Just a text that read, "Was that really necessary?" I stared at it for a minute. The last time he messaged me was to ask if I could help cover half of our dad's dental bill. He never even said thank you. And now he had the nerve to call me out, like I was the problem. I didn't answer. Later that night, I saw a group text pop up on my phone. My mom had made a new Costco membership under her name. The message was short and passive-aggressive. New family account for Costco, me, Mike, and Jess. Thanks to Real Family for stepping up. They weren't even trying to be subtle anymore. It was bait, obviously. Designed to make me feel guilty, jealous, left out. But it just made me laugh. Real Family? These were the people who cut me out of Christmas like I was an inconvenience, and then sent me an invoice. They thought they were punishing me by excluding me. What they didn't realize was, they were just freeing me. So I kept going. Next up was the phone plan. They were all still on mine, Mom, Dad, and even Mike. I'd added them years ago when I had a job with a good discount, and they begged me to let them ride along. It was only supposed to be for a few months. That was 6 years ago. Only my dad had ever made an attempt to pay his share, and that was sporadic at best. They'd been coasting, assuming I'd just keep covering it. I gave them 1 week's notice. Sent a group text. Phone plan ends Friday. Please switch to your own account before then. No replies. Not even a thumbs up. Classic. I knew they thought I was bluffing. I wasn't. Friday hit. At 12:01 p.m., their lines were deactivated. I got the confirmation email from the provider. 3 numbers removed. It took only 2 hours for the fallout to start. First was my dad, calling from a random landline number. I didn't answer. Then came the voicemails, panicked, angry, then shifting into guilt trips. He said he was trying to refill a prescription and couldn't access his account. That it was dangerous to shut off someone's phone. That I was being irrational and cruel. I still didn't answer. Later that night, I got a message from my cousin Laura on Facebook. We hadn't talked in over a year, not since she bailed on paying me back for concert tickets. Hey, your mom called me from a landline today. She said you've been going through something and that you're lashing out at the family. Is everything okay? There it was. The news story. I wasn't reacting to years of disrespect. I was having a breakdown. I was unstable. Unwell. It was already starting to spread. I replied simply, "Everything's fine." That was all I said. I knew how this worked. They twist the story until I was the villain in my own family, the one who just snapped. They wouldn't mention the money, the favors, the things I did quietly in the background to keep everything running. But I wasn't worried. Because what they didn't know was that I kept everything. Every invoice I paid for them. Every text asking for help. Every Venmo screenshot, every Amazon charge they made through my account. Even the email where my dad begged me to co-sign on a loan he defaulted on. I wasn't planning on going public with it yet, but I was getting everything ready. By mid-December, the silence from my family had turned tactical. No texts, no calls, no holiday guilt trips. Just this strange, calculated quiet. I could feel them regrouping behind the scenes, probably swapping stories to make sure they were all aligned. My guess was that I was already the unstable one in whatever version of events they were passing around. Then the American Express alert came through. It was a fraud notification. Someone had tried to make a $2,100 purchase at a home appliance store. The shipping address was my parents' house. The email link to the order was my dad's. The card? Still the same joint account we shared, the one I'd already frozen. They were still trying to use it. After everything, they actually thought they could just keep swiping like nothing had happened. I didn't call them. I called the bank. The rep asked if I wanted to dispute the charge. I said yes. Then I told her the full story, how I'd been the primary account holder, how they had added themselves years ago, how I'd been paying it down solo ever since, and how I had recently flagged the card because of unauthorized use. She paused for a second, then said they could launch a full audit and internal investigation. They'd check the last 12 months of charges, verify who made what, and possibly involve legal if anything looked off. I agreed. Told her to proceed. Then I started pulling receipts. I went through my email, Venmo, old texts, bank statements. I didn't realize how much I'd quietly taken on until I saw it all in one place. Rent, groceries, car repairs, random emergency transfers. Christmas gifts I'd ordered for them and never got paid back for. Subscriptions. Online orders through my Amazon. Streaming accounts. Even their damn dog's medication, which they'd shipped to my house once because it was cheaper with my discount. By the time I was done, I had a spreadsheet with dates, amounts, and proof totaling just over $14,000 across 2 years. $14,000. All while being told I was ungrateful, selfish, hard to love. That same night, I got an email from my mom. It was long, dramatic, and coded in faux concern. She said she missed me. That things had gotten out of hand. That families shouldn't fight over money. That she was worried about me. But right in the middle of all that sugar was the knife. "If you're determined to make this ugly," she wrote, "we can go there too." That sentence hit like ice. It wasn't even subtle. I didn't reply. Instead, I made copies of everything. Uploaded it to a secure cloud account, shared with no one. Printed out physical copies and put them in a fireproof box. Made backups on a USB and tucked it in the back of my closet. The funny thing was, they still didn't think I would actually push back. Not really. They thought I'd run out of steam, like I always did. Apologize. Send a card. Show up. They didn't understand that I had crossed that point already. The part where something inside you breaks in a way that doesn't heal the same way again. They thought they were winning because I was quiet. They had no idea I was preparing for war. 4 days before Christmas, I got a notification that someone had signed for a certified letter addressed to me. I wasn't expecting anything, so I figured it was some delayed online order. When I opened it and saw a legal firm's logo on the top, I actually laughed. My parents had hired a lawyer. Inside was a cease and desist letter. 4 pages. They accused me of interfering in financial matters, spreading damaging and false information, and engaging in a targeted campaign to harm their reputation. There was even a section that warned me against making defamatory claims to third parties. It sounded like something they'd copied from a website and sent to the cheapest lawyer they could find. But the message was clear: they were trying to shut me up. What struck me most wasn't the legal threat itself, but the desperation behind it. They were scrambling, panicking, trying to spin this whole thing into some fantasy where they were the victims, and I was the bitter, mentally unstable child lashing out for no reason. I didn't respond to the lawyer. Instead, I forwarded the letter to Amex. Because 2 days earlier, I'd gotten a call from their fraud department. The preliminary audit was done. Multiple large purchases, electronics, hotel stays, flights, a $700 pair of noise-canceling headphones, had all been charged to the joint card. Not one of them was authorized by me. None of them even matched my spending habits. They asked if I wanted to escalate. I said yes. While they moved the case up the chain, I started closing every loophole I could think of. I pulled up the family calendar we all used, shared birthdays, reminders for anniversaries, recurring holidays, and deleted it. Took them off my Spotify family plan. Locked them out of every shared streaming service, Netflix, HBO Max, Hulu. Changed passwords, logged out devices. It was brutal. Immediate. They were probably watching some movie when their screens went black. Later that day, I got an email from Amazon. Someone had tried to access my account from an unfamiliar device. They'd attempted a password reset and even tried changing the backup email. Security stopped it in time, but they sent me the IP address. It was my parents' house. They were still trying to get back in. Not because they miss me, but because they missed the access. Then my brother texted me. First message since his one-liner about whether my actions were necessary. This time, he was angry. Congratulations. You ruined Christmas. Mom's a wreck. Hope you're proud of yourself. No questions. No interest in my side. Just blame. Like I'd set fire to the tree and taken a piss on the nativity set. They still couldn't see it. I'd been the one holding them up for years. Quietly, without making a scene. Filling in the cracks they refused to admit existed. And the moment I stopped, they didn't say thank you for everything I'd done, they tried to discredit me. That night, I got a final email from my mom. No greeting. No guilt. Just a single sentence. You've made your choice. And she was right. I had. For the first time, it was me choosing. Not them telling me how things were going to be. Not me caving to avoid drama. Not me pretending everything was fine. It was a line in the sand. And I wasn't stepping back. 2 days after Christmas, I woke up to a text from a number I didn't recognize. Hey, it's Randy from your dad's old office. Saw something weird today. Thought you should know. Attached was a screenshot of a Facebook post. My mom had gone public, fully public, with a sob story about how her youngest child had turned against the family, had struggled for years with anger issues, and was now spreading dangerous lies online. She didn't use my name, but it was unmistakably about me. She called me manipulative. Said I'd isolated myself. Said I'd attacked them financially out of spite. The post had already racked up dozens of likes and comments. Old neighbors, church friends, people I barely remembered, all chiming in with sympathetic nonsense. You're such a strong woman. Some people can't be saved. God knows your truth. I didn't reply. Didn't comment. I just screenshotted everything. Then I checked her profile. She tagged a few family members in the comments, including my cousin Laura and, surprise, Jess, my brother's wife. I figured it wouldn't take long for the calls to start. But what happened next caught me completely off guard. At noon, I got an alert from Amex. The fraud team had concluded their investigation. They'd ruled several charges as unauthorized and were escalating to their legal department. They asked if I wanted to pursue further action. I told them to go ahead. Not even 2 hours later, I got a text from Jess. "Can we talk? Just you and me?" I hesitated. Jess had always been cold to me, borderline hostile. She was the one who pushed for smaller family holidays, and made those subtle little comments about how I was too intense. If she was reaching out now, something was up. I told her I'd listen. She called almost immediately. Her voice was low, like she was hiding in another room. She said she'd been watching everything unfold, including my mom's Facebook posts, and she was done pretending. She'd figured out my mom had been borrowing money from her and Mike, my brother, for over a year. Hundreds of dollars here and there. Always in cash. Always with some guilt-heavy excuse. Fixing the car. Getting Dad a surprise birthday gift. Helping a struggling neighbor. Jess never questioned it because it was framed as helping family. But it started adding up. A few weeks before Christmas, my mom had asked for a quick favor to use Jess's card. Just for one thing. While they were out shopping. Said she forgot hers at home. She ended up buying a designer bag. When Jess questioned her, she claimed it was a mistake. Swore she'd pay her back. She never did. And when Jess brought it up to Mike, he brushed it off. Said it wasn't a big deal. Said, Mom would never lie. Then Christmas came. Then the Facebook post. Then the freezing of accounts. And suddenly, Jess started to realize that maybe I wasn't the problem after all. She turned it all around on you, Jess said. She made you look like a monster so no one would question her. I didn't say much. I didn't have to. Jess already knew. She's got Mike completely under her thumb, she said. He doesn't see it. But I do now. A few hours after we hung up, I got a message from Laura, my cousin who'd seen the post. She asked if I was okay, again, but this time she didn't sound like she was just parroting my mom. So I sent her everything. The receipts. The payments. The lawyer's letter. The fraud investigation results. All of it. 20 minutes later, she replied, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. That's insane. The next morning, my mom's Facebook post was gone. By the afternoon, her entire profile was deleted. But that wasn't the end. That night, I got an email alert. Someone had tried to log into my cloud storage. Failed attempts from 2 IPs, one from my parents' town, one from an unknown location. The files were fine. Everything was backed up, secured, and double encrypted. But they were clearly trying to find out what I had. And I was just getting started. New Year's Eve came with no fireworks, just another notification that someone had tried to access my backup drive. Whoever it was failed the 2-factor authentication again. I didn't need to guess. I knew exactly who it was. They were scared. The silence from my parents and brother stretched for a full week after my mom deleted her Facebook. No messages, no phone calls, not even one of those pathetic guilt-laden Bible verse emails she used to send after family arguments. But the absence didn't feel peaceful. It felt like the quiet part of a storm, the part where everyone is bracing for whatever comes next. What came next was a call from an unknown number. I ignored it. Then a voicemail. It was my dad. His voice was calm, weirdly calm. He said he wanted to resolve things privately. That all of this had gone too far, and that there was no need to involve lawyers. He said they were willing to have a conversation if I was done playing games. He still didn't get it. This wasn't a game. It was a final chapter. I let the voicemail sit for 2 days. Then I wrote a letter. Not an emotional one. Not a rant. Just a bullet-pointed list. All the money I'd spent. All the charges Amex flagged as fraudulent. All the evidence of access abuse, streaming, Prime, Costco, phone plans. Copies of the Facebook post and screenshots of my mom's manipulation. I attached it all and sent it to them via certified mail. One to their house. One to my brother. No message. No signature. Just facts. A few days later, my brother texted me again. You really want to burn it all down, don't you? I didn't respond. That wasn't a question, it was an accusation. As if I'd walked away from something sacred instead of crawling out of a trap. But then, the last unexpected piece fell into place. Jess texted again. She said she was leaving Mike. Said she'd been thinking about it for a while but didn't realize how deep the dysfunction went until she watched how they turned on me. She'd quietly started looking at apartments, opened her own checking account, and told me, without prompting, that she was getting legal advice about how much of their finances were still tied to mine. He's not just under her thumb, she said. He's building a house under it. And then came the real surprise. She offered me something. Screenshots. Voicemails. Emails. From my mom. From Mike. Messages where they talked openly about how they'd get around my card freezes, how to pressure me back into silence, how to make it look like I'd gone rogue. I thought you might want this, she said. She sent everything. I didn't tell her what I was going to do with it. I didn't have to. But when I opened that folder and saw my own mother's words, talking about how she just needed to make people doubt me enough, I knew it wasn't just about money anymore. It never really had been. It was about control. About keeping me in place. And now, finally, I wasn't. Update. I wasn't planning to post another update. I thought I was done. I thought cutting off the financial ties, exposing the lies, and mailing the receipts was the end of it. I was wrong. This past Sunday, around noon, there was a knock at my apartment door. No buzz. No warning. I live in a secured building, so whoever it was had to have followed someone in. I looked through the peephole and there they were, my mom and dad, standing in the hallway like it was the most normal thing in the world. No suitcases. Just them. My mom had something in her hand that looked like a folder. I didn't open the door. They knocked again. Then my mom spoke up, just loud enough to hear through the door. She said they just wanted to talk. That they were ready to make peace. That they were willing to be the bigger people. I almost laughed. I told them through the door that they needed to leave. I said I wouldn't hesitate to call the police if they didn't. My dad said something under his breath, then my mom knocked again, harder this time. She said, and I quote, "If you won't fix this, we'll fix it for you." That's when I started recording. They stood there another minute or two, then finally left. But not before slipping the folder under my door. Inside? Printed screenshots of my messages. Out of context. One email I'd sent to my cousin explaining everything, cropped to make it look like I was threatening them. A few clipped texts from years ago, when I was frustrated and venting. At the back, there was a handwritten note from my mom. It said, "You don't want this to become public. Think about your job. Think about your future. Family should stay family." So yeah? They tried to show up and intimidate me. They tried to manufacture a paper trail to flip the script again. And now they're hinting at blowing up my life if I don't play along. I've forwarded everything to my attorney. And for the record, I don't work somewhere where this would fly under the radar. They want to play that game, fine. I'll play it better. Also, shout out to Jess. She told me she'd testify if this went to court. Looks like the game isn't over after all.